라운드를 시작하기 전에 새로 오신 심사위원 분들부터 소개드리고 시작하겠습니다. 이어지는 심사에서는요, 플러그앤플레이의 조용준 대표님, 그리고 엑솔타 캐피탈 파트너스의 러셀 파트너님, 콜라보레이티브 펀드 브라이언 창 아시안 헤드님 자리해 주셨습니다. 잠깐 자리에서 일어나셔서 내빈 여러분들께 인사 한 번만 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 힘찬 박수로 새로운 심사위원분들을 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 귀한 시간을 내주신 세 분께 감사 인사를 전하면서요, 다음 라운드를 본격적으로 40분에 진행해 볼 텐데요. 이렇게 다양한 심사위원 분들의 이력을 보니까 정말 컴업 2023이 글로벌 스타트업 축제로 거듭났다는 걸 실감할 수 있습니다. 또 글로벌 스타트업 축제라는 타이틀에 걸맞게 지금부터 이어지는 세션에서는 다양한 국가에서 참여하는 초기 기업들의 발표가 이어질 예정이니까요. 멋진 발표를 함께 시청해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 네. 제5라운드 시작하겠습니다. 이번 라운드는 하이드로아트 대 필름플레이스의 무대입니다. 두 발표자분께서는 무대 중앙으로 올라와 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 힘찬 박수와 함께 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 내빈 여러분들께 인사 부탁드립니다. 필름플레이스 발표자분께서는요, 잠깐 자리에 착석해 주시고요. 하이드로아트의 발표 먼저 만나보시겠습니다. 네, 준비되시는 대로 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Richard Pate. I'm the CEO and founder of HydroArt based in Abu Dhabi. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you today. The world has a massive food problem. 1/3 of all food produced globally is lost or wasted, not to mention problems around food miles, plastic packaging, carbon emissions, all sorts of things. But it's not just a global issue. Customers are also, and consumers are also struggling. They are frustrated with food that has more air miles than they do. They want to live more sustainably, but they don't have the ability to grow at home. They don't have time, space, knowledge, and in many cases, the right climate. That's where HydroArt comes in. We offer people the ability to be able to grow fresh produce at home, year-round, regardless of climate. This is a hydroponic device. It's a home version of indoor farming. HydroArt, in fact, let me just go back a second. I want to introduce you to my younger boy, Ben. This is my younger son. When we created the very first prototype, Ben came up to me one day and said, "Daddy, can I have a snack from the project?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes up to the wall, snaps off a leaf of kale and starts chewing it like it's the world's tastiest candy. And I'm thinking, this is amazing. Send me the Dad of the Year award right now, because the lessons this kid is learning about healthy eating, unbelievable. So HydroArt Pod is quite simply the easiest, most convenient way of growing food at home. Drop in seed pods, and pre-dosed plant food pods mean anyone can grow up to 4 kilograms of food per month just within your own home. Really simple. You don't even need to do anything for it. The app tells you when you need to take any sort of action, otherwise just leave it and it will do its own thing. A bit like having a big Nespresso machine up on your wall, except instead of coffee, it produces plants for you. And the app tells you when those plants are ready. You can track your nutritional intake, you can track your carbon emission savings, your plastic packaging savings. You can also get a personalized nutrition plan directly through the device. There are products in the market that also allow you to grow at home. Typically, in fact, almost exclusively, they are small kitchen countertop products like some of these ones you'll see here. You can grow 3 or maybe 6 plants. It's nice for garnish on a meal, but it doesn't change the way that you can access your food. That's where HydroArt Pod comes in. Larger growing capacity, full automation for busy people. The way our business works is the customer buys the product. They can either buy it outright or they can lease it, much like you would with a mobile phone on a contract, and then take out a subscription with us for consumables, which are the pre-dosed plant food pods and the drop-in seed pods. We have completed our pre-sales campaign where we've sold over 170 units to America, to Canada, Europe, and our home country of the UAE. We've partnered with government and public sector organizations such as schools where we have a number of pilot programs. Teachers love this, students love this. It's about the educational element of kids learning about food, nature, and the environment. We operate in the home smart garden device market, which is a growing market, if I can put it that way. This is a booming market. It's a huge opportunity, hyper-scalable across global markets because consumers are pretty much have the same needs regardless of which part of the world they're living in. Our go-to-market model, we drive volume sales through strategic retailer contracts. We also have direct-to-consumer e-commerce platform. And we'll be marketing through partnerships such as schools programs and other B2B opportunities as well. We're rapidly building more traction. Our growth will be fast. We have a team who've been working together single-handedly on this for the last 3 years. We're opening an investment round shortly. Please come and speak to me if you'd like to know more about that to drive our business for the next 2 years. Thank you so much.
네, 친환경 자가작물 재배 솔루션 하이드로아트의 멋진 발표 잘 들었습니다. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Sit here, please. 네, 다음으로는 필름플레이스의 발표 이어서 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 무대 가운데로 나오셔서 준비되시는 대로 발표 시작해 주시기 바랍니다.
Hi everyone, my name is Lincoln and I'm the founder and CEO of Filmplace. At Filmplace, we are creating new opportunities for brands and creators. Let me explain. So the creative industry is very disorganized and Filmplace is in fact the only global platform that puts everything together. Your film location, your creative talent, renting of equipment, and even your product placement projects. So 56% of global companies actually agree that producing global content is going to be their key revenue driver over the next 2 years, but only 5% knows how to do it effectively. That literally means that more than 186 million companies out there are actually missing out, and Filmplace can be that driver. So creating global content typically has its own problem. It's typically a slow process. It's very expensive. It's even hard to get support from your local producers. And Filmplace can really get that down and solve it for you, which allow us to become the first full-fledged content creator platform, allowing you to find the right film location, get the right product placement for local and international brands, hire your cast and creative talent, and eventually allowing us to become a creator-centric hub in 2024. And that enabled us to essentially create a tech-enabled flywheel for 4 different parties. That includes the brand, the production company, the producers, and the venue owner. So essentially, brands get opportunity to showcase their product on K-content. The production company can finally get sponsorship from these global brands. And the talent can also get opportunity to work with international content, location owner, make more money through Filmplace, and essentially our platform create an ecosystem where one single project can allow 4 different parties to be benefited from. And currently, we have more than 7,000 brands that we are currently working with from 40 different countries, including TikTok, Nestle, SBS, Kakao, even Airbnb is using Filmplace. And we have signed a partnership with the Korean government as well, like Jeju, Gwangju, and Nunsan, where we are actually able to help them issue public location permits. And just by looking at the brands, you realize that we are quite sector agnostic in the way that, if we have Dell, where they actually create IT products, where they are using Filmplace, and how and why do they need us? Because every company needs to create content for their marketing campaign or their internal communication, right? So essentially, we are able to support these companies across different sectors. And behind Filmplace, we have over 40 years of experience combined with some of us working for some of the best companies like Garena, DMG Entertainment, and even Sony, where we believe we have the right expertise and experience to really help bring our vision to life. And just by looking at our competition, you realize that Filmplace is the most accessible in terms of securing global talents and location. And we are also the most efficient with our technology, where we are able to automate the whole contractual system and get the booking done in a matter of minutes, where the typical process can sometimes take 4, if not 6 weeks. And our main customers are the brands and creators doing mid to large scale projects. Currently, we are looking at targeting these 5 main markets: Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, and India, that give us an initial market focus of about $2.4 billion. But if you do not believe me, Netflix has recently announced that they have planning to spend about $2.5 billion over the next 4 years in just Korean content. Just imagine how big this opportunity can be. And we make money by taking a commission model of 20 to 30%, as well as a subscription, which gives us a 3 years initial opportunity of about $67 million. And this is how we are planning to get there. Last year, we generated about 200,000. This year, we are already 1.3. Next year, we're looking at 5, if not 10. There are a lot of things that we are already planning for that can actually get us to where we are going to be. And our go-to-market strategy is really to partner up with the broadcast companies, the giants, which essentially allowing us to offer our product and services to them. And these brands can also use us for our PPL opportunity, where we also sign first priority rights with all these production companies, which then give us first priority when they are looking for location and talent. And currently, we are in our seed round looking for $1 million. We plan to reach profitability by Q1 next year, so that's pretty soon. And yeah. So Filmplace is never going to be just a platform. Our vision is to become the market leader in the creators economy, where we are able to support the brands and the creators to come together to collaborate, learn, and work on projects together without limited by any geographic boundaries. And that's a little bit about Filmplace. Thank you.
네, 힘찬 박수 부탁드립니다. 촬영지 공간 대여 예약 솔루션을 만드는 필름플레이스의 멋진 발표까지 만나보았습니다. 이제 두 발표자분을 무대 가운데로 모시고 질의응답을 시작해 보겠습니다. It's time for a Q&A session.
I'll go first. Congrats and great presentations to both. Questions around the sales breakdown for Filmplace first, and then how are you actually targeting to get to the 5 million revenue by next year?
So we actually already have a few companies and a few projects in place that actually can allow us to get to the 5 is really just like the minimum that we are looking at. So potentially we are aiming at 10 actually. So we do already have projects that we are currently working on for our next year's plan.
I guess my question was around sales breakdown or revenue breakdown as per how much is from subscription versus how much are from commission.
Currently, everything is from commission. We haven't started off the subscription. The subscription will begin next year.
Got it.
Thank you.
I'll go one more question for HydroArt. So I would love to understand the unit economics of each, again, hardware costs, etc.
Sure. Okay. So it costs us $400 to build a unit. We sell it for $950. Then we have the lifetime value, of course, consists of the subscription renewable recurring revenue, which is, sorry, let me put a number on that, which is about $2,700 lifetime value. That's based on a 7-year customer usage platform for it.
I have a question for HydroArt as well. You did mention that your main focus for the launch countries is US, Canada, and UAE. What's your plan for launching in the Asia market? And I do want to understand how are you going to support the customer support part, as it is, at the end of the day, it's a consumer device. And all of those factors need to be in place. And lastly, sorry for the many questions. Lastly, from a competitive advantage standpoint, you did show a list of the LG devices versus yours. If the large companies actually develop the solutions that you have right now, like what's your plan? What's the plan for the future solutions?
So maybe I'll go from the most recent one question first. So that's around our competitive, the moat, which essentially is around the software. Anyone can build a hardware device, but we've been doing 3.5 years of R&D around the software. So our software is able to determine the optimal growing platform, growing requirements in terms of light, water, and nutrients, based on what the customer says they're growing in the device. And so we have that head start. Other other competitive products aren't doing that. They tend to be nice looking, but not particularly intelligent devices, in as much as they don't really do any of the heavy lifting, any of the thinking for the customer. So that's the first question. Let me go to growing into the Asian markets, which is a really exciting opportunity for us. We know that the next stage of expansion will be Korea, Japan, will probably include India as well. We've had a lot of demand so far from these countries, Singapore, as well as even the UK and Australia. But we're doing it in a targeted, managed way. We don't want to try and sell to the whole world on day one, because as you say, our supply chain has to be able to support it. That's logistically and, of course, in terms of customer support. So we will not open into a new market unless we have established the right mechanisms to be able to provide good customer service, because it's a consumer product. If there's an issue or a question or whatever, people need an immediate response, and that's our commitment to them.
Hi there. First question to HydroArt. So vertical farming for the home, love it, fantastic. I've done some work looking at technology going into the kitchen, and how quickly do you think you could get a build-in option on just being a standard product within the kitchen and the home on new build?
Well, that's exactly what we're aiming, and we are we're deep into discussions with a number of major real estate developers, particularly in the UAE, because this is just like a magic product for them. Everyone's building sustainable cities, sustainable living, but how does that actually look? Well, you put a HydroArt pod in the kitchen, in the dining room, in the living room, and it is a visible demonstration of sustainable living, healthy living, sustainable living. And all it takes is literally to be plugged into the power in terms of lighting, in terms of water and so on. It is fully self-contained. You can put it downstairs in your basement if you want to, but it's designed to be seen. The name is, like in the middle part of the name, it's art. It's designed to look beautiful and to complement your home. It's going in your home. You don't want PVC pipes and all that kind of stuff. You want it to look gorgeous.
Thank you very much, and every success.
Thank you.
Regarding Filmplace, so I've been involved in the film industry and produced feature films. And one of the challenges within the industry for content is because a lot of the sales channels are very well defined with distribution deals going into different territories. How do you deal with that? Because it drove me mad trying to deal with it.
Right. So thanks for the questions. I think essentially it all boils down to the industry itself. It's pretty much, as mentioned on my earlier slide, it's very disorganized. So let me define a little bit about how it's disorganized. A lot of time when people want to, let's say, find a location or a talent, there's no specific price to that. You know, it's an art industry. You can buy an art for $1 or you can buy it for $100,000. So it's the same here. In Filmplace, we help to commoditize the whole industry, where we put a price to that in a way that we are able to sort of make everything transparent. We are able to make things clear. We are able to get the contract done in a matter of seconds, where once upon booking confirmation, you don't actually have to go and get someone to sign the contract with you after that, which again takes time. And on top of that, we allow the payment to be processed almost instantly. There's no need to wait for them to send you the invoice and then after that process it. And I think the coolest part is we are global, which means that we are able to localize ourselves in 20 different languages. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and again, every success. Thank you.
네, 이렇게 해서 멋진 질의응답까지 만나보았습니다. 다시 한번 말씀드리지만 이번 라운드를 비롯해서 이번 코너는요, 데스매치 형식으로 단 한 팀만이 다음 라운드에 진행하게 됩니다. 이제 질의응답을 통해서 심사위원 분들께서 마음의 선택을 하신 것 같은데요. 최종 결과를 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 이번 5라운드의 승자는 바로 네, HydroArt입니다. Congratulations, the winning team is HydroArt. And thanks for the nice presentation. 네, 이제 두 분께서는 무대 내 앞서까지 멋진 광경입니다. 무대 아래로 내려가 주시면 되겠습니다. 다시 한번 두 분께 감사 인사드립니다. 네, 다음 라운드는 6라운드로 제로 서클 대 셀브렉의 IR 피칭 대결이 이어지겠습니다. 이번 라운드는요, 특별히 온라인 발표 줌을 통해서 참가하실 예정인데요. 역시나 각국에서 참여해주고 계시는 스타트업 축제라는 걸 느낄 수 있을 것 같습니다. 네, 먼저 제로 서클의 발표를 시작해 볼 텐데요. 네, 지금 발표자 분께서 준비를 하고 계신 것 같습니다. 참고로 이번 라운드 같은 경우엔 통역이 동시 진행될 수 있기 때문에 다소 딜레이가 있을 수 있는 점 양해 부탁드립니다. 네, 그럼 제로 서클의 발표 시작하겠습니다.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me okay? Awesome. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Hemant Sethi. I'm the founder of Zero Circle. I'm based in New York, and we are on a mission to transform sustainable financing for the small and mid-sized segment by creating a green finance marketplace to enable the net zero transition. Today, net zero transformation by various companies are held back by limited access to sustainable financing, especially in the mid-tier market. There exist large programs for large loans for like the tier one banks such as HSBC and Credit Suisse to finance $100 million plus energy transformation initiatives. And there also exist various initiatives for developing markets in developing countries to do microfinancing in developing countries. But there is a huge gap in the middle. And there's $60 trillion of assets under management that are sitting in various forms of pension funds, community banks, etc., that over the next 10 to 20 years have to be transformed into some form of sustainable link financing. And today that process is extremely complex, it's expensive, and it's not standard. This is where Zero Circle can help. We are building an AI-powered marketplace to simplify and qualify access to green financing and green loans for the mid-tier segment. We do this by doing three specific things. First, we work with a small business to qualify these businesses for financing. Then we align their specific requirements based on the various green initiatives they are involved in, and we match them with the specific financial institution programs that banks can support them with. And then finally, once the loan has been issued, we will work with the business to monitor their ongoing sustainability progress over time as required by some of the covenants of the loan. The market for this is extremely large, and today this sustainable finance market is growing at 20% growth rate per year, and is projected to reach $22 trillion over the next 10 years. And we anticipate to capture a small segment of this market in the global landscape. The reason for this is important. For many companies to meet their net zero net zero goals, by 2050, McKinsey states that we probably need about $3.5 trillion of new investment into the ecosystem every year. In addition to that, only 4% of the global fund markets is actually focused on sustainable funds. We have a long way to go, and this is not just true for the supply chains, but it's also true for large financial institutions. For example, KB Financials in Korea has a target to issue about 50 trillion won of sustainable linked investments by 2030. That's a huge endeavor, and everybody has to get started today. We've had significant traction since we started last year. We've created a proprietary framework to take an organization through a three-stage process to get them qualified for a loan. We're already working with a number of companies across these life cycles, and we are in the process of working with a couple of banking institutions to qualify some of our early prospects for about $15 million of green financing. And we are getting a lot of requests to qualify more businesses as we get these programs issued. Right now, we are focused heavily within the US market, primarily in New York and Florida, and we are starting exploratory conversations with banks and institutions in Africa, UAE, and India. Our pricing model is pretty straightforward. We charge a transaction fee with the financial institution based on the size of the loan, and our target loan sizes are between $50,000 to $10 million. And then we have a platform fee and a subscription fee for the small business to use our platform on a recurring basis. And our current target industries we're looking at is logistics and real estate. The platform is agnostic long-term, but we are starting with these two industries as our initial stepping stone. We have a strong team to build out this platform. My background has been in enterprise technologies and risk and compliance solutions. I've managed about $200 million of revenue on an annual basis, and my partners are entrepreneurs, and they've collectively, we've built about $500 million of total revenue between our various companies that we worked at. We are in the process of raising our seed round right now. We are about 30% committed, and we are looking to close this before the end of the year. This is basically to launch our marketplace that we are in progress building out right now and qualify about 200 businesses through the rest of next year. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
네, 멋진 발표 잘 들었습니다. 다음으로는 셀브렉의 발표가 이어지겠습니다. 발표자분께서는 준비되시면 발표를 시작해 주시기 바랍니다.
Right. Give me 1 second. Can you see my screen? Hi everyone. So we're Cerbrec. So we're a solution for black box AI. Basically, we're also based in New York at Zero Circle. So basically, the problem that we're looking at is there are many AI platforms that are accelerating, alleviating those building AI problems. But what we notice is that those enterprises are integrating with black box AI. What that means is that when the AI models make mistakes or create misinformation or create biases and discrimination, that's the moment when those enterprises feel helpless how to solve this AI misinformation. So that's where we're chiming in. We are solving this problem by unboxing the AI model. So we give a full transparency, a diagramming experience to everyone. So enterprises, like their ML machine learning teams, can basically add guardrails and produce safer and more responsible AI models. So that is our product, what we call it Graphbook. And we allow data scientists and machine learning engineers to create diagram models. And when the diagram is drawn, the model is implemented. There's no need for software engineering. There's no need for infrastructure or operations. And some of our core features here is first is we have a convenient computing environment. What that means is our customers can easily deploy to any cloud platforms, including AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, or even on-prem cluster. The second one, which is our secret sauce, is that we're able to basically unbox any open source model and visualize it as a diagram. And third one is we also come with different error messages when the model creates misinformation or or create error. And the fourth one is, I briefly mentioned before, is we're able to convert an open source model code into our visualization. So I'm going to quickly do a demo here about comparison with the existing approach doing it using the code versus using our Graphbook. So we're going to start with a coding based. It's a GPT model that you would typically get from online. And you enter some prompt there and you get a response there. So, and then the developer starts to really try to do some experimentation inside the model. And that's when, that's how the experience would look like. There are many lines of code here. Many of them is not relevant to the model. Some of them is relevant to the hardware. Some other is relevant to the software dependency. Some others relevant to the cloud. So this is taking hours and days to really find where the model is located inside the code here. And after so many hours here, the developer is finally able to find a place to debug the model and make changes. And now let's take a look at how our product looks like. It's the same model. You enter the prompt here and use the data. It's interactive data being implemented here. You get the output here. And what's different is that it's purely no code, and you just can click into the model and see how the model looks like and make changes. So now with just a few clicks, it's able to find a place where the layer is looking. And it's not just visualization. You can also edit the model by just removing those links and draw a new link over. And the result also gets updated. So this is the ROI of switching from the traditional coding base to using graphical. Enable enterprise machine learning teams 8 times faster in terms of shipping their AI into production. And also that means like 85% talent cost reduction for achieving the same goal. And it also means 40% fewer bugs in their production AI systems. So we have many use cases here, but our customers are most excited about the first use case here, which is troubleshooting AI models. And if you ever heard about like big announcements from OpenAI yesterday, they are basically looking at black box AI. So we're basically focusing on making AI model more transparent.
네, 시간 관계상 셀브렉의 발표를 여기서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. Thanks for the wonderful presentation, and let's start the Q&A session with our judges.
Sure.
So I have a question for both of you. First of all, thank you for the presentation. I did see in a very detailed manner of the products, but I did not really see the competitor landscape for the both of the presentations. So if you can briefly explain about the competitors and what is your competitive advantage. And I do want to see what are the unique selling points for each of the companies.
Yeah, sure. So I can go first. Yeah, so from our perspective, there's a couple of different types of competitors. We don't have a direct proxy as far as I've seen. There's a couple of competitors focused on the ratings. They're using their sustainability ESG ratings as part of financial transactions. There are a couple of large banks, like many of the banks that currently offer these are for large financing projects. They could eventually come down to the mid-tier segment, which is where we are focused on. And in addition to that, there's a ton of like consulting and smaller operations that does it on a one-on-one basis, right? So the financing transaction, anywhere there's a financing component, we tend to have a lot of competitors in that space. Similar to payments, right? Payments is a very similar landscape. We have a lot of players in the space because it's a fairly large market. So I see us being that similar as part of that ecosystem. We will be one of many players that kind of eventually executes on this overall landscape.
And on server side, so basically our main competitors are those coding-based tools. And what that means is, our uniqueness is mainly focusing on much more productive fixing those misinformation and biases inside the model. So we give a visual experience and drag and drop experience to really troubleshoot those misinformation in AI models versus using very complex coding tools to do the same thing, which is much less efficient.
I've got a question for each of you at a structural level. So I'm a founder of Net Zero Nation in the UK, so I'm obviously a huge proponent of releasing more capital into the market to allow green projects to progress. But could you tell us a little bit about how you assess the projects to make sure that they are indeed sustainable projects and not simply greenwashing?
Yeah, so we are basically basing our methodology on two primary things. One is industry standards that already do these assessments. So depends on the type of project. Not all of the types of projects have an industry certification or qualification criteria built into it. So one of the examples is we're working with an aqua farm right now, right? And there's no specific industry standard how sustainable that is, but we are doing a lot of measurements and tracking based on industry factors. So that's one way that we're looking at it. So if there is an industry framework, we will piggyback off of that. If it is not there, we will have to do our own measurement tools and partner with experts in that space, right? And secondly, the financial criteria for assessment, large banks today use the green bond principles and the ICMA framework as part of financial assessments of various projects. We are basically taking that same framework and bringing it down to the mid-tier segment. So we are not trying to create our own methodology. All we are trying to do is simplify the process of using existing frameworks and existing methodologies that exist in the industry. As the landscape changes and the regulatory environment changes, we will also make sure we kind of keep on top of those capabilities in the various geographies that operate into that. And it's also very geography specific, right? What's happening in the US, which is a little bit more behind than some of the stuff that's happening in Europe. We are facing a slightly different challenge around maturity of companies that don't fully understand how to even track and monitor progress of this kind of information, right? So we have to take that into account as we are talking to some of the banks and institutions we are working with as well.
Thank you. And for Cerbrec, can you give us just quickly an indication of your go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, for sure. So our go-to-market is we actually have several sectors where we're selling to like those like Fortune 500 enterprises as well as middle-sized companies. And the ideal customer profile is mostly the machine learning teams in middle-sized companies who are using open source AI models, like from Hugging Face, those online models. And we are mostly going to conferences and writing technical articles, use case articles that attract those data scientists as well as machine learning engineers. And we are heavily pursuing a developer growth approach, which is more like product-led growth, or developer-led growth approach, which is more bottom-up approach, and to upsell to enterprises.
I'll make it quick. For both of you, how do you actually get the customer, or who are the target customers for the next, I don't know, 6 months, 3 months, maybe 12 months?
From our perspective, we are targeting, there's a couple of specific real estate specific programs that are happening in New York and a couple of other parts in the US. So this is something called the CPACE and there's something called Local Law 97. And we are actually looking at various property owners and properties that are trying to meet those regulatory requirements. So our objective over the next 3 to 6 months is about 50,000 property managers and developers that are looking to meet some of these both regulatory requirements and energy reduction requirements. So that's kind of our objective right now. And we are in the process of doing a bunch of campaigns. We've got a bunch of feedback from banks and partners. We've lined up a couple of financial partner ecosystem around it. And now we are in the process of doing go-to-market campaigns for those property managers and developers to bring them into this marketplace ecosystem. So that's our objective, the short-term objective for the next 3 months.
And for server side, basically, we're looking at machine learning teams from company size that's ranging from 200 to 500 people. And our major lead generation approach is really to rent a booth and go to conferences, and that's been very effective to us. So every conference we go to, we go exhibit, and then we generate more than 50 leads out there. So we basically constantly demoing to those medium-sized companies, their machine learning teams, more like developer-led growth out there.
네, 이렇게 해서 멋진 질의응답이 오갔습니다. 다음으로는 결과를 공개하기 전에요. 잠깐 안내드릴 사항이 있는데요. 혹시 이 멋진 발표와 질의응답을 한국어로 이해하고 듣고 싶으신 분들께서는 무대 뒤편에 통역이 제공되는 리시버가 마련되어 있다고 하니까요. 네, 운영 요원에게 혹은 뭐 여쭤보셔서 착용하시면 되겠습니다. 네, 그럼 이제 6라운드죠. 6라운드에서 우승을 하여 다음 라운드에 진출할 승리팀을 가려보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 이번 라운드의 승자는 축하드립니다. 제로서클이 이번 라운드의 트로피를 거머쥐었습니다. 모두 힘찬 박수를 중으로 참고 계신 두 분께 보내주시기 바랍니다. 네, 멋진 발표를 진행해주신 두 분께 다시 한번 감사 인사드립니다. 네, 이어서 바로 다음 라운드 진행해 보겠습니다. 다음 라운드는 현장에서 진행되는데요. 제7라운드는 미트리스 킹덤 대 포셔니어의 무대입니다. 두 팀의 발표자분께서는 무대 가운데로 올라와 인사를 해주시기 바라겠습니다. 힘찬 박수와 함께 맞아주시기 바랍니다. 네, 먼저 미트리스 킹덤의 발표 이어질 테니까요. 포셔니어의 발표자 분께서는 잠깐 자리에 착석해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 네, 준비되시는 대로 발표 시작해 주세요.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Vidya Putra. I'm from Meatless Kingdom. So, let me start with the reality that daily protein intake in Indonesia is lower than global citizen, whereas Indonesia has big potential of resources. That's why in Meatless Kingdom we try to make a platform that can build or utilize plant-based proteins. And we utilize many plant-based proteins and to make like more sustainable, more affordable, and also healthier products. Why Indonesia? Because Indonesia is the fourth largest population in the world, and with 250 million US dollar for protein, alternative protein markets. And right now, it is mostly covered by tofu and also tempeh. That's why in Meatless Kingdom, we offer something different. Our products are already in the market. It is covered some of Indonesian favorites such as dendeng, rendang, and gepuk. And we also develop like vegan bakwa. This is target for Chinese and also Singaporean market. Besides the taste, we're really concerned about sustainability. We have calculated that we can reduce like 88% water and also reduce 80% carbon and save 3 trees if we can replace the beef with our products. And what makes our products are different? From business sides, we are pioneer of ready-to-eat products with competitive price. And from product sides, our products are research-based from our food technologies team and also with high protein, self-stable, and Asian taste. And the most important thing is our products has halal and BPOM certification where just few plant-based meat company in Asia have. Besides Meatless Kingdom, we already succeed with another brand, Mushroom, which is more focused on vegetarian snacks with mushroom and seaweed base. And even during COVID, we can triple our sales, and also we are looking to grow even more this year. We have achieved our goal each year and look to grow the quickest this year. Last year, we got supported from BIV, Lever Foundation, and also Sustainable Food Ventures for our pre-seed round. And also we have exported our products to Singapore, Hong Kong, and Holland. And this year, we also in discussion with some other importers as well. We're really concerned about expansion across Indonesia and also abroad, and with our innovative products. In line with our business roadmap, we also really think about our products. So we use high technology. For instance, like we start with aromatic fat replacer that can mimic aroma and flavor of the meat. And the second one, we plan to make like Korean and Japanese series, ready-to-eat products. And also, we are doing research in mycoproteins with some other national institutes. Related about our mycoprotein projects, we have succeeded to identify specific mold that can utilize our fermented koro beans, so it is local beans, and make mycoprotein with high protein. And also this technology can be patented by next year. So we have established many domestic and international as well, both B2B and B2B2C. Not Not only that, we have won several awards, including Scale It Up Challenge. We become first winner in Asia Pacific, sponsored by Buehler, Cargill, and Givaudan. And with 20 members, we are optimistic can lead Meatless Kingdom to success. Right now, we are in the seed round. We're asking for $1 million US, mostly to expand our current capacity because to meet the demand, and also to do marketing, R&D, and also hiring best talent. Thank you for your attention and join us to bring good impact of plant-based meat in Asia. Thank you.
네, 멋진 발표를 진행해 주신 미트리스 킹덤 발표자분께 힘찬 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 다음으로는 포셔니어의 무대가 이어지겠습니다. Please come to the center of the stage. 네, 바로 발표 시작하겠습니다.
Hi everyone, my name is Paul. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Potioneer. So Potioneer is basically a platform for you to book a private chef. And we have been operating this for over a year now. And basically we are a marketplace for people to easily explore, book, pay, and enjoy a private dining experience. So currently we have over 100 chefs in our platform, mostly based in Thailand, with over more than 12 venues partners in Bangkok area. We have served more than 1,000 of customers with high spending power, and we generated about $167,000 in the past year. So, but we hit the ceiling where we feel like we only serve the 1% of the total customer segment, where we can empower this innovation to a mass market into the middle high and middle class people. And especially when the booking funnel you see here is much more shorter conversion, that means we're gonna make a higher sales revenues. And in order to become the top of my chef table platform, not only we aim for the private chef, but we have to also like take a look at how the mid-high and middle-class people, they spend, especially they look for the value for money chef's table experience. And that's the cost of $50 billion in Southeast Asia, which equivalent to a total of 1 million chefs. And that's the total size of the total addressable market we are aiming for. So the global market for the fine dining scene is huge, $670 billion. But we only aim for $50 billion US. That is the 1 million professional chefs in Southeast Asia that we want to serve them. So now we want to convert the 100 chefs that they have the private course menu available on Potioneer. We want to turn them into a more casual booking style. So it's going to be very similar to how you book a normal restaurant. But it's more like a crowdsourcing of people join the same round. It's very similar to omakase. So introducing Potioneer 2.0, we are going to be a value for money chef table app where the individual chef will have a software as a service tools to manage their own calendar and booking management. And now we have signed the partnership with Chef Pam, the Michelin star chef based in Bangkok, who owns Potong. Our pricing plan we have available for all the chefs. If they want to subscribe, they can join for free, use our service for free with a 10% commission from every booking made on the platform. But if they sign up for the monthly service, they will get a discount to 7.5% commission. And that is how we can achieve the total TAM of $50 billion US. So in the competition now, we have both the platform who serve as a booking reservation for the restaurant on the left side, and the right side we have like many private chef booking restaurant from the Europe. So Potioneer, we kind of actually serve for both the dining experience and unique dining experience, which is more private. Our team consists of me as a CEO, and Kunak as our marketing expert, and Kun Bam is our golden boy. So he's a celebrity and the MC of Top Chef Thailand, who helped connect with many celebrity chefs based in Thailand. I'm the tech guy, Kun Far as our designer, and Code Ku as our acting CTO, and help with a lot of technical side. So we have already signed MOU with KKday and Fun Now with a total monthly active users of more than 10 million users. And we signed the MOU with IOI, which is the documentary series production team who do a series for Discovery Channel. And then we also received a grant from TED Fund and Open Innovation, which is the government agency. But the next step for Potioneer, not only just marketplace, SaaS, but we also want to step our foot into the Web3, which is providing the utility NFT. So Potioneer, we're gonna be the open doors for people to become a holders and get exclusive right to receive, to reserve the seat with the chef in our platform, and with the chef like Michelin star chef with the long time of booking. So Potioneer NFT, we aim to raise $280,000. That we're gonna open up for sales 1,000 NFT, and that's how we make an impact in the past few years. So we make many chefs who become unknown to be more well-known, and that's our proud moment. So now we want to raise 20% equity with, we want to raise $500K in exchange of 20% equity in the seed round for 18-month run rate. Thank you so much.
네, 두 팀의 멋진 발표 잘 들었습니다. 지금부터는 약 7분간의 Q&A 세션이 진행되겠습니다. 네, let's start the Q&A session, please.
Thank you both. I'm getting a bit hungry now. Regarding one question for each of you. So for Meatless Kingdom,
Sure.
there is an incredibly growing market for your product globally.
Yeah.
Could I ask about your shelf life on your product? Because for a number of companies producing new foods, unless the shelf price works, they find it difficult to ship globally.
Yeah. So our shelf life right now is 1 year, and the most important thing, it is shelf-stable, because mostly plant-based meat player out there, it is like frozen food. It is quite hard to distribute, especially we know exactly Indonesia is archipelago country, and then that's why we make ready-to-eat products.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it's probably a technical question for Potioneer. So this matching market that you operate in, one of the problems is that if I book a chef through your platform, I then get to spend time with them and I know them personally. So what's to stop me just phoning them direct next time?
I mean, that's something that we as a tech company cannot control. And I mean, most of the machine company, they are facing this similar problem, right? So actually, when the chef, they sign up for Potioneer, they actually get the booking management system where they have to come back and use our system. So eventually, if the customer decides to book, the chef will use the link, the payment link from our platform, and provide them to the customers, especially for the booking. That's very easy. And when the overseas customer, they come to your country, it's much more easier for them to pay with your credit card. And that's how our solution actually solved this problem for the chef. And then, yes, I understand the issues. And then I hope that my answer helped clarify how. Yes.
I like both companies a lot. I'm also actually a user of a Kitchen. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Unfortunately, they failed in San Francisco, but I love the private chef. As a marketplace company, I used it a few times. But unfortunately, their unit economics didn't work out, I think. Just so, the question to you is what's the unit economics right now, and then how do you plan to improve it with the scale, maybe not? And I have another question for Meatless Kingdom around also similar unit economics. How does it break down? What's the margin like at the moment, and what's the plan with the growing scale?
Sure.
Okay, so me first. Sure. Okay, so in terms of the total market size, I'm looking into the Southeast Asia market in general, where more than 1 million professional chefs they currently active, and then this 1 million chefs, not all chefs get to have the luxury opportunity like other celebrity chefs who get to meet with investors and open up a restaurant. But what we try to do is we try to empower them with our platform and make them become seen by this potential investor and partner through the platform, that they can showcase what they can do with, in the chef table event. So this is the very high demand activities that crave by the chef, and especially with the diners after COVID time, they're looking for more dining experiences. So this where the market happening, and how we serve more than 1,000 customers with the high spending customers in Bangkok. we realized that we need to get to more mass market, like the people who are management levels, but they also look for place to enjoy the meal with their friends, after work. So that's where the market exists. So yeah, that's how we want to go.
Okay. So for our case, I would say our margin right now in average is 45%. So I would say it is quite healthy. And also for the economic of scale, it is like right now our production capacity is just 3,000 boxes per month. So that's why we need to cover more, because the demand is there, but we cannot fulfill. For instance, like export market, they want 1 container, and then we need like 1.5 months to fulfill this demand. And the second one is if our capacity is increasing, I think we can also reduce the cost and it become more healthy even for the profit. And our target market itself is what we see is not only in Indonesia, but also outside of Indonesia, because most of the problem with export, especially, for instance, rendang. Rendang is very famous in Indonesia, one of the most delicious food in the world even. But the problem is mostly made from beef. But then when you want to export to other country, it is many restrictions. That's why when you come up with the idea of plant-based meat, it is different story, different situation. That's why we see the market is there, and then we have a big potential to reach out. Thank you.
I have a question for Potioneer. So it seems like you have to capture both supply and demand. Supply meaning with the chef's part, and demand meaning with the diner's part, right? So what is your strategy on both matters? And I would like to understand what is it in it for the chefs? Like what is their breakdown of the overall revenue or business model from them?
Yes, so most chefs, they are looking for more customers. And how we do that is, our go-to-market strategy. At first, we have our co-founder, Kun Bam, as a celebrity and icon in the F&B industry in Thailand, to help connect us with the more popular and famous chef as an eyeball, to attract more chefs, a young chef, to be inspired and join our platform. And then later, after we sign MOU with the KKday and Fun Now, we have attractions that is proven that there are tourists from overseas who come to Thailand and look for a local chef experience. So that's both way help attract each other, like side to side. And that's how we grow a number of chefs from just 20 or 40 to 100 in a year. Yeah.
Any other feedback or question? 네, 그러면 질의응답을 여기서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 날카로운 질문과 멋진 대답으로 또 이 자리를 빛내주신 두 팀 그리고 심사위원분들께 감사 인사드리면서요. 이제 7라운드의 우승자는 누구일지 최종 결과를 만나보는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 네, 이번 라운드는 인류의 더 건강한 미래를 위해 혁신을 지속하고 있는 두 팀의 대결입니다. 7라운드의 최종 승자는 네, 축하드립니다. 미트레스 킹덤이 이번 7라운드에서 우승 트로피를 거머쥐면서 다음 라운드에 진출하게 되었습니다. 멋진 발표를 보여주신 두 팀께 모두 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 이제 무대 아래로 내려가셔도 좋습니다. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. 네, 멋진 두 발표자분을 무대 아래로 모시면서요. 동시에 다음 라운드에서 멋진 발표를 보여주실 두 팀 무대 중앙으로 모시도록 하겠습니다. 제8라운드는 제틀 대 카멜의 무대입니다. 이번 무대는 역시나 온라인 발표로 진행됩니다. 먼저 제틀의 발표부터 시작할 텐데요. 네, 지금 준비가 된 것 같습니다. 발표 시작하겠습니다.
Wonderful. Well, look, very pleased to be here today. I'm the co-founder and commercial director at Zetl. Zetl is financing the next generation of businesses in APAC. We are an embedded lending fintech. So what that means is we provide our embedded lending technology capital, as well as licensing and regulatory cover, so that other platforms can offer fully digital business loans to their customers. So traditionally, you had the direct-to-business B2B model, which is actually how Zetl began 4.5 years ago. And what we have pivoted towards is this embedded model, B2B2B, whereby we integrate with our partners via API layer and allow them to offer these loans to their own customer base. The key thing for us is growth is at an inflection point. So we've just crossed $1 million in annual recurring revenue. We've now financed over 50 million loans since 2019. Monthly recurring revenues are around $100,000, and we've got a pretty healthy margin of about 60%. The other key thing, as you can see here, is our deal origination pipeline. Throughout COVID, it's grown pretty consistently, but this year we've seen an exponential growth in that. Probably tied into the fact that it can be harder to access liquidity for many startups and SMEs. So what this means is the nature of lending has been changing. What users value more than anything is speed of execution as well as convenience and easy UI and UX. So in the old way, you would apply to your bank and get a loan in 2 or actually these days 3 or 4 months. And the new way is actually through existing partners such as say Stripe, Shopify, and eBay, an offer can be pre-approved and sent to the customer with disbursement within a day. So why now? Digital adoption is creating a wealth of new data to underwrite in APAC. Europe and the US had access to this data already, but in the Asia-Pacific region, we're starting to see this coming through with payments processors, online marketplaces, as well as POS vendors. And this allows us to basically finance underbanked SMEs all over the region. So what's the vision of the future going to be? Every platform will act like a fintech, and Zetl will be positioned to help these platforms offer credit to their users. So 3 well-known examples here, Stripe, Shopify, and eBay. All 3 well-known technology companies offer these types of merchant cash advances or instant settlement payouts, but they do it in partnership with fintechs, Celtic Bank, Uland, and Lending Point. So even the largest platforms in the world are using dedicated lending fintechs like Zetl, because to be honest with you, running a lending business requires dedicated experience. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of data. And our API allows these platforms to offer these loans to their users. Zetl integrates via API layer so that they can offer their customers, their SME base, these particular products. Why do they want to use us? This is obviously a crucial part of it. Platforms will benefit from using us, and this is backed up by data from a large fintech unicorn in Europe called Liberis. 50% reduced chance of churn, 33% more in core transactions, plus 48% in customer lifetime value. Key metrics here for why these partners want to use this type of service. Why do they need us? As I said, running a lending business is complicated. You need access to data. You need to have licensing and regulatory cover, and you need to have access to capital. Zetl has access and has coverage of all of these things. A bit about the team. So as I said, myself, co-founder and commercial director, CEO Chang, based in Hong Kong, and finance director Matt Roberts in Singapore, and then Martin, based in Portugal. All have extensive experience. This is what the market looks like globally. US, plenty of these embedded lending B2B fintechs. Europe, a few, as mentioned, Liberis and Uland. But in Asia Pacific, it's only really us and one other lender in Singapore. There is a huge opportunity here. So it's a highly capital efficient method of scaling via embedded. We leverage our partners' CAC. This allows us to obviously acquire potential borrowers directly from one partner, hundreds, sometimes thousands of potential borrowers. Minimizes localization. The partner handles the front-end localization and acquisition for us. We obviously focus on data and the underwriting, and it's efficient for collections. We collect from the revenues from them. We already have the debt in place, already filled with a major $10 billion asset manager in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Korea. We're looking for $2 million. Growth at an inflection point, highly scalable, and ready to expand across APAC. Thank you.
네, 파이낸싱 솔루션을 제공하는 제틀의 멋진 발표까지 만나보았습니다. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. And 다음 순서로는요, 카멜의 발표가 이어지겠습니다. 준비되는 대로 발표를 시작해 주시기 바랍니다.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My name is Aminu. I'm the CEO at Kamel. Kamel is a social commerce startup that's working on making e-commerce accessible to anyone across Africa or right here in my country, Nigeria. And what this means literally is that we enable anyone to start, to manage, or to grow an e-commerce business of any size, even if they don't have access to capital. E-commerce in Nigeria is a fast-growing industry. But there are several challenges that people who participate in this sector face. For example, most of the large-scale wholesalers in the country still are not available online, and this means the supply chain is broken. Most of the people who are online are not the original owners of the goods; they are resellers, and so their prices are much more expensive than you would get by simply going to a market and purchasing products. So what Kamel is working on is an e-commerce enablement application to bring wholesalers, manufacturers, and original owners of goods online with their own online store, financial management tools to manage their digital operations, and then we connect them with the resellers who are currently selling online, reducing their prices and making them more efficient and more competitive to their end customers. For the resellers, they can literally come to Kamel and start selling without needing to invest money into purchasing products from original manufacturers of goods. They can have access to a diverse range of suppliers on our application. And of course, they also get their own website and a marketplace where they can select products and advertise to their own end customers online. The market size for e-commerce and especially social commerce is fast growing. Globally is worth $16.6 trillion and growing continuously. Right here in Nigeria is currently a $25 billion annual spend industry, and between now and 2025 is growing by 80% plus year on year. This is expected to reach $75 billion by 2025. At Kamel, our target is to onboard at least 70,000 sellers onto our application within the next 2 years, who are transacting at least $300 on a month-on-month basis, and this would give us a GMV of at least $250 million. We're very new. Our team is made up of a diverse range of individuals. Myself, the CEO. I have experience in the e-commerce space for around 3 years now. I have myself been a reseller, and I've supported resellers and importers while I was studying in China to import their goods into Nigeria. Emmanuel, our CTO, has experience building e-commerce applications for over 3 years now, and Abdelaziz and Mush, they themselves have been e-commerce entrepreneurs. In terms of traction, we launched our application in July, and so far we've onboarded over 2,500 sellers onto our application who are active on a week-on-week basis, around 650 of them. We have generated sales of $65,000 plus and processed over 500 orders between this time frame. In terms of competition, there are a few companies who are offering e-commerce enablement solutions specifically to anyone who wants to sell online. So just a website to sell online. What we go a step further, we are offering them, anyone who sells online, a route to market. If you're an original manufacturer or an importer who brought goods into the country and you're looking to get those products to the end consumer, we offer you a network of over 2,000 resellers that can help to advertise these products on the places that people are more likely to buy, which are social media platforms. In terms of investment, we're looking to raise $2 million in investment between now and next year. Most of this money is going into a logistics infrastructure. We've seen logistics one of the major costs as a hindrance to people purchasing online, so we want to invest into a network of pick-up and drop-off stations across major clusters in the country. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.
네, 멋진 발표 감사합니다. 이커머스 솔루션을 제공하는 카멜의 멋진 발표까지 만나보았습니다. 네, 이번에는 두 발표자분 모두 줌으로 이렇게 온라인으로 참석해주고 계신데요. 화면 너머로 그 떨리는 마음과 긴장된 기색은 여전히 느껴지는 것 같습니다. 네, 다음으로는 약 7분 내외로 심사위원의 질의응답 시간이 이어지겠습니다. 네, let's begin the Q&A session, please.
Great presentations for both of you, and thank you. So question for both. So how do you actually try to get to the customers? I mean, I guess you guys have a little different customer sets, but curious how you guys try to get to their like go-to-market strategy, or how to acquire customers and kind of, I guess, customer acquisition costs like.
So who would you like to go first?
You can go first, Zetl.
Sure. So as I mentioned, when we first started 4.5 years ago, it was a direct-to-business model. So back then, we were originating customers through intermediaries like accounting firms, corporate secretarial firms, as well as loan intermediaries. Now, since we pivoted to the embedded financing model, that has changed somewhat. So since last year, we've been now targeting payments processors, POS vendors, and online marketplaces like Kamel, funny enough. And what we're actually doing is we're integrating with them directly through this API layer. So the way that we originate customers has changed. We're actually using them to originate customers for us, and we're kind of piggybacking on their customer acquisition costs in a way. So that is going to be the strategy for how we scale regionally. And we're already doing this in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and we have an early pilot also in Australia.
So, can I go? All right. With Kamel, we have two groups of customers. For the wholesalers and manufacturers, it's more of a direct approach. We approach them directly and do the onboarding. While for our resellers, the sales agents who are advertising products online and sharing on social media, we're utilizing influencers, going to student associations. It's more of a partnership model. So we go to a place where we know there's a lot of people that cluster together. We could be in a school, we do onboarding at those, with those associations.
I have a question for Zetl. So you mentioned on your slide the average loan check size is 100K, and it seems like you guys are doing great every year by year. So it seems like you have 350 cases for year 2023, which is around 35 mil. And you did mention 60% margin. Could you please elaborate a little bit more on how that margin is formed?
Sure. Yeah. So for our model, we obviously have investors who provide us with debt financing. So in previous years, that was done on balance sheet as senior notes to the company. But this year, we actually changed that to an off-balance sheet SPV structure. So we have a cost of capital, which you could say is in the region of sort of 12 to 14% annualized. But we are offering our financing products to the end customer at typically anywhere from sort of 20 to 25% annualized. Can even be slightly higher than that. So that cost of capital takes up close to sort of half of the margin of our gross revenues. So that's how it's been calculated.
Can I thank you both for your presentations? They were both very clear. You outlined that you're aware that there are global competition for the space you operate in, and geography gives you a competitive edge currently. I just wondered how you plan to protect that as more interest grows in solutions coming into either Africa or Asia.
Happy to go first. It's a very good question. So I think there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One of them, as I mentioned, is having the licensing and regulatory cover. It takes time to get these licenses in place. So, we've obviously been active now for 4.5 years in Asia Pacific. It does take time to get these secured. Many of them require going through government processes. So I think there is an element of a first mover advantage as an embedded lending player in the region. Secondly is the majority of the players that you saw on that slide are very much focused on either the EU or the US. And if they have got an established foothold in one of those markets, they tend to be looking to go into the other market because of the size of their geographies and their economies. Asia Pacific, as we know, it is more fragmented. Every country has its own nuances culturally, linguistically, as well as from a regulatory perspective. So sometimes you do need to have that regional knowledge to actually be effective. So I think for us, we're already in 4 markets, and we're about to actually enter a 5th market very soon. So I think that's kind of what helps us have this moat.
For Kamel, one of, let's say, the biggest global companies that's operating in this space is Misho. And even if you look at their own business, they're very much local in the way they approach it. There's several reasons for this. If you're utilizing a network of agents to distribute products for wholesalers or manufacturers, these people are available locally, and you need to build a network that you will monetize over time. And even if they come into Nigeria, it will take them a very, very long time, a lot of investment, and convincing people to switch over will not be that easy. So network effects will protect a local player that has taken the time to onboard people.
Thank you both.
Any other question or feedback? 네, 이렇게 해서 질의응답도 마무리를 하겠습니다. 개인적으로 이렇게 짧은 5분간의 발표를 보고 날카로운 질문을 던지시는 우리 세 분의 심사위원 분들과 또 즉석에서 질문을 받고 침착하게 자신의 생각을 조리 있게 말하는 두 발표자분 모두 대단하다는 생각을 하면서 열심히 발표를 들었습니다. 네, 이제부터는 긴장되는 시간입니다. 다시 한번 말씀드리지만 이번 라운드 역시 데스매치로 두 팀 가운데 단 한 팀만이 다음 라운드에 진출하게 됩니다. 네, 멋진 발표를 보여준 두 팀 가운데 과연 승리를 거머쥐는 팀은 어떤 팀일지 이번 라운드의 결과를 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 축하드립니다. 이번 라운드의 승리는 제틀에게 돌아갔습니다. 네, 멋진 발표를 보여준 두 팀께 모두 감사 인사 드리면서 이렇게 해서 8라운드를 마무리해보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 다시 한번 축하드립니다. 다음으로는 9라운드. 네, 지금까지 많이 달려왔는데요. 이번 라운드는 특별하게 한 팀은 현장에서 그리고 한 팀은 온라인에서 발표를 진행할 예정입니다. 네, 현장에서 발표할 에일리틱스 그리고 온라인으로 발표할 나르발의 무대가 이어지겠습니다. 먼저 에일리틱스의 발표자분 먼저 무대 가운데로 모시겠습니다. 네, 지금 온라인으로 참석하시는 나르발의 발표자분도 함께 만나보실 수 있습니다. 준비되시면 시작해 주세요.
Hello, my name is Leonard. I'm the founder and CEO of Ailytics, and today I'll be talking about our AI-powered solution for operations monitoring for all industrial sectors. So this is a common sight that we see today in construction sites all around the world. There are people still manually deployed to monitor large TV screens of cameras. Most of the time when I go there, they're probably sleeping, and they're not really effective at doing their job anyways. And the result of this is that we look at all these things happening on a weekly basis, not a monthly, not a yearly or quarterly thing. These issues are happening in construction sites all around the world today, and it's extremely dangerous as well. All this results in huge fatality issues, productivity loss, ultimately leading to lots of value loss globally for construction sites around the world, and all because monitoring of operations are tedious, costly, and prone to human errors. But this is not unique to construction. This is also applicable to all industrial sectors. And what we are really trying to do here is leverage on existing cameras and infrastructure. We are only bringing in the AI capabilities for the cameras that are already on site and running our AI models in real time to produce real-time actionable insights to the site team through the mobile phone as well as through the dashboard. So end users receive these alerts, they investigate, and it helps them to improve and increase the amount of hazard detected, round-the-clock monitoring, and helps them to be more efficient as well. Ultimately, all this is used to analyze subcontractor performance, issue fines, claims, disputes, and improve the overall safety culture and operational culture at the site. So we have more than 20 plus active AI modules today, and we cover these four key areas of operations. So essentially everything from safety, progress, productivity, and security of operations with existing cameras. In order to do well in construction sites, we need the new generation of video analytics. Video analytics in itself is not new. We have seen it in license plate detection, facial recognition, so on and so forth. But in order to do well in environments like this, where it's outdoors, small objects, more dynamic, we actually need much more 2D to 3D conversion without sensors of low-spec equipment, and that is what we have done. So while four key advantages is we have the largest construction data set in Singapore, which is very applicable to construction overseas as well. We can convert 2D to 3D scenes without sensors or multiple cameras, in reducing the cost of entry, as well as increasing the capabilities of what the AI can provide. We can operate in outdoor environments and have many parameters for end users to configure for their needs. So we do have competitors in this space. Our main competitor is actually based in Hong Kong. They've been around for about 6 years, which is 3 times more than us. They have more use cases and more data for sure, but because of our core tech, we can actually outweigh them and outperform them within about 6 months' time, or catch up to them at least. We have deployments in Hong Kong, and all 12 of them were actually flipped from Viac themselves. The market we are looking at is the Asia market, so we want to target all industrial sectors in this market because we still see a gap even with the existing video analytics solutions that are already deployed into the space. We have 2 pricing models. One is subscription for more flexible or dynamic and short-term projects, and a licensing base for more long-term fixed installation like warehouses projects. So for us, it's been about 2 years now. We started with 2 years of R&D. Before that, we have more than 40 active deployments, secured more than $1.5 million in contract, are almost profitable. We are deployed in construction, manufacturing, as well as the military sectors, and have deployments in Singapore and Hong Kong. So Korea, we have already started some conversations with Samsung E&C, especially for their Singapore project. But I think there are still a lot of challenges, even here, that we can solve with our technology. The team is led by myself and my co-founder, Pratik, and we have more than 30+ years of experience leading large-scale software deployment and AI research. And essentially, we are looking for 3 main things now: to look at expansion, to scale up really into this part of the world, for grants, for investments, for connections to partners, customers, regulators. And the last part is, as well, is to look at the administrative portion of setting up a company, as well as any regulators that we can talk to drive regulation, because that's one of the ways that we also get this system more widely adopted in Singapore. So thank you very much for your time. Open to Q&A later, but let's all work together for a safer and more productive workplace.
네, 멋진 발표 감사합니다. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. 네, 실시간 모니터링 솔루션을 바탕으로 한 비디오 애널리틱스 기능으로 더 안전한 산업 현장을 만드는 에일리틱스의 멋진 발표까지 만나보았습니다. 네, 지금 현장에서 이렇게 화면으로 나오고 있는 것처럼요. 다음 발표, 나르발의 발표는 온라인으로 진행될 예정입니다. 네, 발표가 준비되시는 대로 발표를 시작해 주세요.
Thank you. I'm José Luis Nuño, founder and CEO of Narval. At Narval, we design impossible antibody drugs with biotechnology and artificial intelligence. 600 million live with diabetes. 27% will develop diabetic retinopathy, an eye condition that causes vision loss and blindness. The available treatment is a $2,000 monthly injection of an antibody drug in the eye. This is complex, risky, and expensive, but cannot be done otherwise with the therapeutic alternatives currently on the market. But this is not exclusive of ophthalmic antibody therapeutics. No matter if you suffer from a respiratory disease, cancer, or a digestive disorder, chances are that you are going to be treated with an antibody drug that costs thousands per dose and can only be delivered by an injection. Existing antibody drugs are fundamental to treat diseases, and it's a $200 billion market, but these are not easy to use or affordable. Antibody drugs are made with monoclonal antibodies, which have significant challenges, like their incapability to cross through most tissue barriers in the body, lack of stability out of cold chain, and a high manufacturing cost. These challenges limit antibody drug development into a very narrow set of applications, making it impossible to develop efficient antibody drugs for hundreds of diseases that affect most of the global population. At Narval, we are solving this problem designing synthetic antibody mimetic proteins to replace conventional monoclonal antibodies in novel first-in-class therapeutics. Our goal is to create antibody drugs that until now have been impossible to develop. Our patented antibody mimetic protein platform, or AMP for short, uses CDR3 regions from single-domain shark antibodies fused into a synthetic conoprotein scaffold from a sea snail. Our AMP platform uses molecular and artificial intelligence processes, eliminating the use of in vivo, transgenic, or cellular models. Our AMPs are 40 times smaller than a conventional monoclonal antibody, but have the same biological functions. Our AMPs can penetrate tissue barriers, generate limited immune reactions in patients even with no humanization, can target very small and hard-to-reach antigens, and are heat-resistant. These advantages give our AMP technology the ability to develop antibody drugs for disease applications that were impossible to develop, like antibody drugs in aerosol, in eye drops, by oral delivery, or by transdermal release. Our mission is to make antibody drugs as affordable, accessible, and easy to use as common pharmaceutical drugs to increase access to a life-saving therapeutic for billions. Our vision is to build the largest antibody drug portfolio for unserved therapeutic needs. Our business model is to design our AMPs from validated targets and focusing our core activities on the development, in vitro and in vivo validation, and preclinical testing, and then our licensing our AMP candidates IND ready to pharmaceutical companies for clinical development and commercialization, generating revenue from upfront payments, milestone payments from clinical phase to drug approval, and then royalties on sales of the marketed products. In our pipeline, we have today one AMP candidate for diabetic retinopathy entering preclinical phase next year and expected licensing by middle 2025, and another one for ocular inflammatory disease with initial in vitro tests. Also, we are developing our first leads for respiratory diseases on inhaled aerosol, including an anti-COVID-19 with initial in vitro test and a second one starting R&D for a non-exclusable disease right now. In terms of results, our first AMP candidates have shown great results of in vitro and in vivo testing. Our AMP for diabetic retinopathy show confirmed capability for penetration of the eye tissue after 3 hours of application on eye drops, and therapeutic activity on the back of the eye with antivascularization activity and decrease on epithelial cell count of the macula. Our first antibody IMP showed full neutralization activity over the COVID-19 virus on lung cell culture at nanomolar level, which is similar to the FDA-approved antibody drugs in the market. For me and my co-founder Alejandro, this is our third startup working together for almost 17 years in biotech. In our first startup, we launched a pharmaceutical product for animal health in 14 countries in partnership with a global big pharma. In a second startup, we launched a diagnostic technology using shark antibodies, microfluidics, and artificial intelligence. Now, in our third startup, Narval, we are joining with our academic co-founder, Dr. Alexei Lisea, a worldwide renowned researcher with great experience in marine protein engineering and also a former startup founder. In terms of traction, our AMP technology is fully developed and validated. Our generative AI process is currently in development. We are closing our first paid pharma customers with other 2 in early discussions, and we already submitted patents in the US, European Union, Mexico, China, and India. We are Narval, and we are the future of antibody drugs today.
네, 멋진 발표 감사합니다. 더 건강한 미래를 위해 AI를 기반으로 더 빠른 항체 치료제 개발을 가능케 하는 나르발의 멋진 발표까지 만나보았습니다. 네, 지금부터는요, 현장에 계신 에일리틱스의 발표자분과 온라인으로 참여하고 계신 나르발의 발표자분 동시에 Q&A 세션, 네, 질의응답 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. Let's start the Q&A session, please.
Thank you for your presentation. I really liked your presentation on Ailytics. So how many construction-based companies are you partner up with right now? And what is your plan on scaling the business within the other markets as well?
Thanks for the question. So I would say we have about, across our 46 projects, about 30 of them are unique main contractors, but also developers. So those are the 2 main customers that we serve. And what we notice is that our core tech is actually not only for construction, because actually construction is kind of more on autopilot now already. We are now deploying it in military and manufacturing sectors. So we do want to target all industrial sectors, because that's where we think the largest gap between what is available in the market and what we can solve is at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
So right now your solution is hardware agnostic, right?
Yes.
So are you guys doing a lot of POCs and pilot programs as well with other partners?
Only for new type of developments. For existing ones, we try to avoid that as much as possible and kind of go direct. I think at least for us, we do have some reputation. Our customers from Singapore and our partners are actually bringing us overseas as well. So we do hope to leverage on that to skip out that phase entirely. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll go next. So I have a question also to Ailytics. What's the model that you use for the computer vision or like prediction on the image side?
So we do take some baseline from open source models like YOLO V5, YOLO V8. But what we realize is that a lot of them cannot either run on extreme long range small object detection, or they can, but they're too slow. So we kind of make a hybrid, like we do a bit of a Frankenstein on some of open source models and some transformer hits to apply to them so that we can actually use those long-range detection in real time. But on top of that, I think we tune a lot of the hyperparameters to train our AI to recognize the structures of objects, so it's not agnostic to the country and it's not agnostic to the color. But I would say the AI is only 50% of it. In construction and in tougher video analytics requirements, it's actually more about scenarios and actions and behaviors. So even though the AI's job is to detect, we also apply a lot of software engineering before and after. For example, stabilization of the image, taking out white noise, tracking of timers, calculating distances and radiuses, so that it forms more useful of a use case rather than just the AI piece.
Can I thank you both for your presentations? Your success, both of you, will save lives. Now, the number you mentioned, a number that someone dies in construction every 10 minutes. Yeah. According to my calculator, that's 52,000 deaths a year. That sounds like a health crisis. Could you tell me, for both of your companies, what you can do or what help you need to accelerate your success? Because if you can accelerate that, you're going to save more lives.
I'll go first. Okay, maybe one thing that we notice is that the construction industry is a very legacy and very conservative one. So, you know, as a startup coming into this space that not a lot of companies want to go through, sometimes it's hard to do it on our own. So a lot of the times we are also doing a lot of education pieces through marketing, through closed-door events, through seminars and expos to accelerate the adoption of these contractors, to say that, you know, how this can help them. Because most of the time they see this as a cost. Sometimes they deprioritize safety because they think that it will impact their productivity. So we try to do a lot of those. And on the other hand, we also work directly with a lot of developers and regulators to tell them that this tool is not to be used for penalizing people, because they always, the first thing they think about is, I saw this, I issue a fine. But the moment you do that, I think it's worse for everybody. So a lot of education of the higher ups, the developers, the clients, the government as well, to do that, and also to bake in regulations that incentivize people to not only penalize but to reward. Yeah.
So for us, in our case, our customers and users are pharmaceutical companies. So these are the companies that have the power to take a product in a very complex market like therapeutics. So for us to be able to be, let's say, more quick in taking one molecule or one new molecule to the market, we need to partner with pharma companies very early from the beginning of the development of a new molecule. Because at the end, what we are developing is a new tool to treat a disease that is part of a much larger ecosystem where pharmaceutical companies actually, well, expert and with enough assets and enough network in order to be able to shorten, for example, the time required for a clinical phase of a new product to get into the market. So for us, it's very important to get working on with the pharmaceutical companies very early on the development of the product and not just the customer at the end of the development. So this is one strategy we follow, and that's why we have been, even in an early phase, we have been working already with pharmaceutical companies planning or developing these new molecules for the future.
Any other question or feedback? We have enough time for this Q&A session. 네, 깔끔하게 답변을 잘 해주신 덕분에 질의응답이 예상보다 조금 빠르게 끝난 것 같습니다. 네, 멋진 대답을 해주신 두 발표자분께 감사 인사 드리면서요, 이번 라운드의 결과를 만나볼 시간입니다. 네, 인류의 더 건강한 미래를 위해 AI 기반 항체 치료제 개발 솔루션을 만드는 나르발과 더 건강한 산업 현장, 더 안전한 산업 현장을 위해 비디오 애널리틱스 기반의 실시간 모니터링 솔루션을 제공하는 에일리틱스의 멋진 발표를 만나보았습니다. 네, 이번 라운드의 승리를 거머쥘 팀은 긴장되는 순간입니다. 모두의 지금 이목이 이 화면을 향해 쏠려 있는데요. 이번 라운드의 승자 바로 공개하겠습니다. 축하드립니다. 에일리틱스가 이번 라운드의 승리를 거머쥐면서 다음 라운드에 진출하게 되었습니다. Congratulations, the winning team is Ailytics. 네, 모두 감사드리면서 승패와 관계없이 애써주신 나르발 발표자 분께도 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 이제 무대 아래로 내려가셔도 좋습니다. 네, 이렇게 해서 제가 진행을 할 라운드는 단 한 개 라운드, 10번째 라운드만 남겨두고 있습니다. 그 전에 제가 스타트업의 구성원으로서 모르시는 분들이 계실 것 같아서 잠깐 말씀을 드리자면요. 저는 AI 신약 개발 스타트업 히츠에서 홍보를 담당하고 있는 송지우라고 합니다. 여러 번 오늘 인사를 드리네요. 네, 그래서 스타트업 저희도 초기 단계 스타트업이고 시리즈 A 투자를 유치한 단계인데 이 과정에서 굉장히 궁금했던 게 초기 스타트업이 성공하기 위해선 어떤 요소가 제일 중요할지 뭐 공동 창업자일지 아니면 마케팅 전략일지 굉장히 궁금하더라고요. 그래서 또 여기 마침 계시는 우리 세 분의 심사위원께서 저명하신 VC넷 투자사 대표를 포함하여 여러 분이 계시는 만큼 한번 그런 질문을 여쭤보는 시간을 갖고자 합니다. I have a question for all the judges. So, which one is really important for success for the early stage startups? 한번 발표를 들어보겠습니다.
I didn't know we were going to get asked about these questions, but I mean, in the early days, I think it comes down to execution, how fast you move as a company, as a team, as founders to get to the next milestone that you, as a company or startup, kind of set to achieve with limited resources, whether it be capital or the team members. So, what I look for in the early stage startup is how fast a company kind of moves. And what kind of background each founder or the founding team has that is either unique or differentiated. And I guess the unique insight that probably not no one, but like no one else has, I think. So that's how I mean, as an investor, look for and kind of look to for potential success. But even my, I guess, judgments may come really wrong. So yeah, that's my quick thoughts.
Thank you for the wonderful question, wonderful answer. 예. 네, 콜라보레이티브 펀드의 브라이언 창 아시아 헤드님께서 멋진 인사이트를 들려주셨습니다. 네, 다음으로는 엑솔타 캐피탈 파트너스의 러셀. 네, how about Russell? 네, 지금 옆에서 질문을 다시 한번 친절하게 설명해주고.
To me, it's about the market. Relationship between the start to acquire customers by customers' need. We see lots of examples of incredibly good products, but market need. And I think getting that right is the key. It's certainly been in my experience, not about market wants, but spending the time with customers need is now and what it will be in the future.
네, 다음으로는 플러그앤플레이의 조용준 대표님께 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
저는
할 것 같습니다.
네. 뭐 영어로는 일단은 먼저 드리면은 on top of all this 한국말로 좀 동기가 제일 중요할 것 같아요. 결국 스타트업을 하셨고 어떤 모티베이션을 통해서 지금 단계로 가시는지 앞서 말씀드렸던 중요하지만 그 동기를 통해서 다음 큰 모멘텀이 될 수 있기 때문에 그 동기 투자자분들은 거기서 이 사람 나오는구나라는 게 좀 보여지거든요. 좀 크게 보고 있습니다.
네, 몰입과 동기의 중요성을 말씀해 주셨습니다. 네, 갑작스런 질문에도 이렇게 본인의 경험을 빗대어서 노하우를 전수해 주신 우리 세 분의 심사위원 분들께 다시 한번 감사 인사를 드립니다. 네, 아까 일전에 말씀드렸던 것처럼요. 저희 스타트업 히츠의 경우에는 컴업 2021 네, 재작년에 진행된 행사에서 저희 회사를 홍보하고 특허청장을 수상하는 그런 경험이 있는데요. 사실 초기 스타트업의 경우에는 특히 이번에 루키 리그에 출전하신 발표자 분들의 팀의 경우에는 누적 투자 유치액 10억 원 미만의 초기 기업들로 구성되어 있습니다. 네, 굉장히 초창기 기업인데요. 이럴 경우에는 우리 회사를, 우리 제품을 외부에 알리는 것조차 굉장히 제한되어 있고 정말 몰입해서 만든 프로덕트임에도 불구하고 이걸 아무도 알아주지 못해서 때로는 낙오하고 낙심하기도 합니다. 그런 환경 속에서 제가 화면에 크게 나오고 있네요. 그런 환경 속에서 이런 컴업 2023 같은 글로벌 스타트업 축제는 스타트업의 한 줄기 빛이자 큰 기회인데요. 이런 축제를 운영하고 계시는 여기 현장의 수많은 운영진 분들께도 다시 한번 감사 인사를 드리면서요. 네, 이렇게 해서 루키 리그 두 번째 세션이 마무리되었는데요. 네, 마지막 라운드까지 고생해주신 심사위원 총 6분들께 모두 다시 한번 감사 인사를 드립니다. 그리고 함께 다양한 스타트업의 이야기를 들어주신 여기 내빈 여러분들께도 진심으로 감사의 인사를 드립니다. 저도 이번 라운드를 마무리로 다음 사회자분께 마이크를 넘겨드리도록 하겠습니다. 지금까지 인공지능 신약개발 스타트업의 송지우였습니다. 감사합니다. 즐거운 컴업 행사 되시기 바라겠습니다.